This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Welcome to Manila Ocean Park. This is the best place for you to be with your families and friends while being close to nature. Manila Ocean Park started in year 2008. Over the years, we have created a very wide selections of different attractions. We are very different because we make our attractions interactive. We wanted our attractions to be very experiential. We also wanted our attractions to be highly educational, so that when the guest comes to the park, they have a very good experience. We are very proud to say that our animals here are well cared for. They eat a very wide variety of food so that to ensure that they have enough nutrients. Our space are very wide, very big. That gives the bird and all the other animals ample space to exercise. That makes them live a lot more longer than their usual lifespan. Every animal in our park is our favorite animal.
90% of the world's marine species are actually found in the Coral Triangle, of which the Philippines is at the center of that triangle. So this is a great place to see a sample of all the different marine animals in the sea. We have our Aquanaut program. You can actually experience going underwater, and you don't have to be a certified diver. You can dive underwater, see more than 3,000 fish inside our aquariums.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Global Village. I'm Buddy Kunanan. Now, in this show, we take you around the world, you visit amazing places, and meet interesting people. We also talk about topics and issues that impact the global community. And tonight is all about the environment, which is one of our top advocacies here on Global Village. In fact, we do contribute and we do commit a lot of time and airtime and coverage to this topic, which is really, which has a profound effect on the earth and on humankind. So tonight is about marine protection and our marine resources, and joining us are officials of Manila Ocean Park, which is one of the leading advocates and proponents of marine protection in the Philippines. And with me is Des Guschada, good friend of mine, and she is the CSR, that's Corporate Social Responsibility Manager, and Head of Curatorial for MOP, Manila Ocean Park, MOP for short. Des, welcome back to, welcome to Global Village.
Hi, buddy. Yes, thank you for inviting us again.
Yes.
Very good to be back. We're glad to be back here.
No, it's our pleasure to have you. And I had to correct myself when I said welcome back, because this is the first time that MOP is on Global Village, but I have featured MOP before on
yes.
our previous show before we reformatted Philippines Uncut.
True.
And really, it's all about marine resources, and I'm a big fan of the work you're doing, and you guys in MOP. And MOP is one of my, and I'm sure many others, happy places in the Philippines, if not the world. Huh?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Des, let's kick off and let's talk about you, okay? So you're the Corporate Social Responsibility Manager, and we're going to be talking about CSR a lot on the show tonight. And you're also Head of Curatorial for MOP. Interesting word. What is that? What is Head of Curatorial?
To simply put it, it's we take care of the fish, and then we make sure that the displays, the collections are healthy, and then the tanks are clean and suitable for the fish to live in. So to give a good show to the clients and the visitors that come in.
Yes. And, MOP has come a long way. and you're now 10 years in
Yes,
existence.
this year.
No? And how time flies.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
it was just recently when we heard of rumors of MOP being constructed, and now 10 years, and so much has happened since then. Okay, let's talk about MOP. Walk us through Manila Ocean Park.
Okay, Manila Ocean Park, it started in 2008 in March. We opened our doors to the public, and it was well received. There were big, long lines of people wanting to come in to see the Oceanarium. So we started with one attraction. This year, we are now 17 attractions. So we've come a long way from since 2008. We've developed a lot of attractions over the years.
Yes, yes. So wow, I mean, you've really grown a lot, and some of your fish, your wildlife stocks, I'm sure have also grown since you have breeding programs, which we're going to talk about in a while. Facilities. What can people see and do in Ocean Park aside from the aquariums, obviously?
So we call ourselves all-season, all-weather destination. So we have apart from the Oceanarium, we have the Sea Lion Show. We also have birds to raise awareness also in the plight of the Brahminy kites, which are on loan from DNR. We also have a jellies exhibit, and of course the penguins, the trails to Antarctica, and there's a whole lot of other things you can do. There's a hotel even, Hotel H2O, and there are a lot of restaurants around that could cater to different kinds of people with different taste in food.
Yeah, I want to talk about your hotel because really MOP is, as you said, it's a place where you have activities for everyone. It's not just an aquarium, restaurants, and of course this very unique hotel, the only one of its kind in the Philippines. And I understand that you have theme rooms catering to that aquatic, giving an aquatic marine feel to one's stay in the hotel, no?
We actually have three kinds. So one, you have the view of the Manila Bay, and then one, you have the view of the park, the Rizal Park. And but our signature room is called the Aqua Room. So in your room, you have your own aquarium. So families, especially children, like to stay in that particular room because they can see their favorite fish and they can relax. It's relaxing. So if you're stressed and you want to relax with your family, you can book a room in Hotel H2O.
Yes. And what an experience, a unique experience for the family to spend, as you said, to go to sleep in a room surrounded by all these beautiful, wonderful animals. Na? Okay, what are the most popular attractions? What is the biggest draw of Ocean Park, Manila Ocean Park?
Well, happy to say that it's still the Oceanarium. People still go primarily to see the Oceanarium itself. So apart from all this attraction, they really particularly would like to see the sharks, and then of course the clownfish, the tang, dory, the nautilus, even those that they don't normally see anywhere else, they can see in Manila Ocean Park. So the top one is still the Oceanarium. And of course, we have the Sea Lion Show, we have the penguins.
That's always good fun.
Yes.
It's very interactive. You
It's
can
very
actually,
interactive.
I've seen people participate by throwing fish and feeding the sea lions,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
And we even have a program wherein you can you can interact closely with the sea lion. It's a sea lion encounter for a few hours, and it's an exclusive encounter with the sea lions.
Yes. Des, I'm so happy that MOP is here because before you opened in the Philippines, there really was no, the only place that Filipinos could see marine life was on the television, the documentary, or maybe in the aquarium, in the pet store.
Yeah, or in a book.
Or in a book, no? But, it was always out of reach for Filipinos to become up and close and personal with marine life until you guys came to the scene. Bravo. Des, we have to pause for a break. When we come back, we'll talk about your wonderful CSR projects, which are unique and I think are doing immense good, raising awareness of marine protection in the Philippines. Guys, stick around because more of MOP and marine protection when Global Village returns.
The seahorses are one of my favorite animals in Manila Ocean Park. I like sharks,
The guitar fish.
the sawfish. These amazing little creatures are experts in camouflage.
It's not something you see when you go diving.
They're very fascinating and they're the top predators of the ocean.
It looks like a saw, but it's really a gentle creature.
The first time I saw a shark was actually inside the oceanarium, and I was quite impressed by the way it moves and its shape, and they're actually the king of the ocean. The fact that I get to see these animals every day, it gets me inspired.
We had more than 3,000 fishes on display, and that's when I got to realize, how diverse our oceans are and how beautiful the fish that we have in our collection.
One of the most pressing problems that we have now is waste pollution, and it's more on domestic waste rather than company waste.
Just a small piece of candy, when a child or an adult throws it on the street, that piece of candy actually goes to the estero, and then from the estero it goes to the rivers, and then from the rivers ultimately it will go to the sea, like for instance Manila Bay. And that plastic can be eaten by a fish or a mammal.
70% of the Earth's surface is made up of water, and that 90% of life on Earth live in water. Even though we belong to the remaining 10%, whatever we do greatly affects the ocean.
It's really important to save the ocean because
The ocean plays a very important role in the entire ecosystem. It affects not only the ocean ecosystem in general, but all the other ecosystems in the entire planet.
it is an important and valuable contribution to the entire planet.
Welcome back, folks, to Global Village. I'm Buddy Cunanan. Tonight's topic is Saving the Environment, Manila Ocean Park, MOP, and Marine Protection. And joining us still is Des Guestrada, and she is the CSR Manager and Head of Curatorial of MOP. Des, I have to commend you first, you guys, on your wonderful videos. We're showing all the MOP videos, very nicely put together, very good information dissemination, and just class act.
Thank you.
Perfect job in spreading awareness of your advocacies. Okay, let's talk about one of the things I love about MOP, despite the fact that it is really a fantastic place to spend one's time and to bring your family and all that, is your very impressive and relevant corporate social responsibility program. When you guys get into projects like these, how do you identify? I mean, there's so many topics that you could cover. How do you guys identify, okay, MOP is going to jump into this issue and this issue, blah, blah?
When MOP started in 2008, we already have CSR programs. We started, of course, bringing in children from different orphanages, coming from the different NGOs. We give them free tours of the oceanarium when we were starting. And then we expanded because the attractions also expanded because we have a program, it's called I Love My Ocean Planet. So from focusing only on the ocean conservation, we expanded it because we have birds, we have insects. So we also try to expand our CSR. So we partner with different government agencies, even the academe. So that's how we produce our programs and projects in terms of CSR.
Yeah, I love your kind of think outside the box approach with CSR. And a good friend of mine, sadly, he's passed away, Mr. John Chua. He was very active with the Ocean Park, especially with bringing the kids with the Down syndrome, no?
Yes,
Yeah.
but not only the Down syndrome, he also brought in children with autism,
Yes,
the
yes.
different cases, different PWDs come over to Manila Ocean Park, and John was able to bring them there.
Yes, yeah, we miss him a lot. Fantastic human being, fantastic person, Mr. John Chua. Okay, you guys are smack in the middle of Manila Bay, and I understand you guys are also at the forefront of raising awareness of, hey, come on, let's save Manila Bay. I love my ocean. So,
Yeah.
tell us a bit about your project there.
One of the things that I vividly remember when we opened in 2008, and then we had our first clean up of Manila Bay. So that was the first year, and I was quite new also, and I was surprised actually to participate in a coastal cleanup. It was my first time, and even the children enjoyed it because they realized that the amount of trash that goes in the ocean. So I think that's one of the things that we still do. We do coastal cleanups, not because we want to clean the ocean, but we want to raise awareness among those who participate that these are the types of trash that you find inside Manila
Of
Bay.
course. And when Dr. Ben Baliao joins us, we'll talk about how big this problem is. But before we go in that, we have a video from you guys, and it, just showing your involvement with Manila Bay. Huh? Let's have a video.
Since the ocean is a treasure trove of resources, we are essentially killing our own resources.
When we talk about global warming and climate change, the primary cause of this is really carbon emission. And this is when we burn fuel either for factories or even for our own aircon or even consumption of fuels for our cars. Now this emission, of course, it evaporates and then it depletes the ozone layer. It makes our ozone layer thinner and thinner. And as a result, okay, the temperature of the Earth becomes warmer and warmer. We have a term here called life support system, and what it really means is taking care of the water so that the fish in the facilities can thrive.
I'm proud to say that my colleagues are experts in filtration. The dirty water of Manila Bay is now used in our tanks. In fact, we're able to breed, we're able to propagate, and we're able to recycle the water, so we give back clean water to Manila Bay.
Bravo, Des. And this is something a lot of people are now aware of, that the water that you use in your aquariums comes from Manila Bay, which people will say, what? How is that even possible? Yeah.
Whenever we talk to the kids,
Yes.
when we have educational talks with the students, what I tell them when I introduce that the water comes from Manila Bay, I call them, it's a magic show. we're trying to produce a magic show every time we clean Manila Bay. because-
Absolutely. I mean, just look at the bay. Anyone who's walked along the Ross Boulevard, even come close to Manila Bay, would say, how can anything live there?
Yes,
It's
it's science
horribly polluted.
magic because we employ, of course, science to clean the water. We have different types of filtration to make sure that the water will be clean when it goes out to the tank.
An interesting trivia, there was a word that was flashed in the video. It said, back of the house. This is the place in MOP, I understand, that most people don't see.
Yes.
It's possible to see it, but it's not part of the regular tour. And I understand that 1/3 of your facility, of the entire place,
It's
is dedicated to
dedicated.
just cleaning the water for
Yes.
putting in the aquarium, no?
Yeah. So
Bravo.
when you go inside the back of it's like the kitchen. It's where all the hard work happens. So the cleaning of the water, the preparation of the food for the fish,
Yes.
and the water lab, the animal lab, the breeding room. This is where you can all see all these things.
That's
And,
where the magic happens.
Yes, that's where the magic happens.
Des, before we pause for a break, I want to talk about one more thing. And I mentioned earlier that I love how you guys are think outside the box in MOP. And you had another you had another CSR project, which is very unique. I thought it was something that like totally, something that you wouldn't think would be in place in a marine, in a marine park, no? And that is the Super Toy project or
Super
event.
Toy Collection.
Super Toy Collection. Well,
Yes.
now, what was it about?
The attraction is we want to teach children that you can be a superhero even if you're a little kid. On your own little way, you can have your superpowers. So this attraction is dedicated for children to be able to raise their confidence and to their strength, and then to find what they're really good at.
Now, we have a short video. Before we pause for a break, we're going to show this video about the Super Toy Collection project of MOP. Let's have a video. There you go. Welcome back to Global Village. I'm Buddy Kunanan, and tonight's topic is MOP, Manila Ocean Park and Marine Protection. And joining me still is Des Guchada, and she is the CSR Manager and Head of Curatorial. Of course, joining her is Dr. Benjamin Vallejo, and he is one of the Philippines' foremost authorities on marine resources and marine wildlife. And the never say die Manila Bay guy. That's Ben Vallejo for you. So before we jump into talking to Ben, I want to talk to Des quickly about that video we saw. Nice project, which we're going to be talking with Dr. Ben about the shark breeding and catch and the release program. But interesting that video. There was another species there. Long hair,
The mermaid.
feminine looking.
That's born
Yes.
and bred in Manila Ocean.
So she's one of the people who works in Manila Ocean Park.
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
okay.
She's actually part of the Animal Encounters team. Is a trainer, animal
Okay.
trainer.
Oh, she's a trainer.
Yes.
Okay. Does she get up in the mermaid outfit in MOP?
Only for
or-
special occasions.
Seriously.
Yes, when we have special
Okay.
events.
Yeah.
For example, Christmas, we usually have the mermaid show in the main tank.
Mermaid
She's
show.
one of the mermaid. Yes.
Oh, so this mermaid theme show really happens in the main tank,
the
and
main
so
tank.
you can see all these fish and marine wildlife, and you can see the mermaids.
mermaids
Wonderful,
swimming.
wonderful. Now this is a show I want to see. Okay. Let's talk to Ben Vallejo, a good friend of mine, obviously, of course, and you've been in the show before many years ago, and wow, I have to say, Ben, I'm a big admirer of the work you're doing, and you really are a resource when it comes to this topic. Okay, let's talk about your background. Ben, you are a associate professor
Yes.
of environmental science in UP Diliman. What got you involved in this line, in this kind of work?
Oh yes, because I did my work. I did my doctoral degree in marine biology, and my professor asked me to work on marine environments that we really don't study much, like Manila Bay, for instance. So because a lot of people have been studying coral reefs, okay, so I followed my professor, told me to work on environments that we don't really look much into. So I decided to look into Manila Bay. So that's where it started.
Yes, interesting. I know,
Yeah.
Because interesting you mentioned Manila Bay, and I introduced you as the never say die Manila Bay guy, because hope springs eternal. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, when they see Manila Bay and they hear Manila Bay, they think it's a lost cause, it's dead. Do you agree with this? Do you with that kind of thinking that it's so far beyond rescue and repair?
Well, I don't agree with that. Of course, the bay looks bad. Okay?
Yes.
But there's some good news. For instance, the levels of lead in the sediment or in the mud has dropped because we implemented the Clean Air Act, which requires cars to use unleaded gasoline. So the lead from emissions go to the atmosphere, then when it rains, it ends up in the water. Since we're using unleaded fuel, the levels of lead in the environment of Manila Bay has dropped significantly.
Yes.
So it's a matter of just implementing our environmental law. So if we could implement it, then the condition of the bay will obviously improve.
Okay, before we jump into the topic of the pollution
Yeah.
of Manila Bay further, how did you get involved with Manila Ocean Park? What is your relationship with MOP?
Well, when the Ocean Park was starting, I met some of their the president then was Mr. Lim Chiyong in Singapore, and they were expressing the interest of putting up an oceanarium in the Philippines, but that was a few years before they really built it up here. So I was out of the country. I did my doctorate. Then I came back. I was surprised that they made through their plan of building an oceanarium in the Philippines. Well, which is really a good thing because it recognizes that we are a prime market and a tourist destination.
Absolutely.
So that's then when I came back, they asked me how can I help them in the planning process, considering that they're bringing in new technologies, and also about the environmental condition of the bay.
Yes.
So I gave some advice on, and that was included in the design of their water treatment facilities. Because the
Yes.
environmental condition of the bay is really important for to treat the water for the oceanarium.
Yes, we were just talking about that in the second segment, Des, when we mentioned that half of the facility, of the actual physical area of MOP is dedicated to that back of the house operation, making the water suitable to sustain marine life in your aquariums. No, but interesting that you've been with MOP for a long time, even before it actually was constructed. Like you, Des, I understand you're also from its inception you were already with MOP.
Yes.
So you guys are really the old hands, so to speak, of this new facility that I'm so glad is there. As I mentioned earlier to Des, that it's given Filipinos access to see these things up front. What a shame that we live in an archipelago of 7,000 plus islands, and yet most of our people have never. When they go there, it's like this is totally alien. Huh? And then for someone like you, in marine sciences and that sort of thing, must be a wonderful thing to have this world-class facility in Manila. Okay, plastics. When you talk about Manila Bay, and Des and I talked about it earlier, the pollution of Manila Bay, what is the solution there, Ben? I mean, some people are saying the problem is it really is, the metropolis has grown so much along with the population that the pollution just is exited, a lot of it, in the bay, which is a tragedy.
Well, plastics are now becoming a global environmental problem. Before, we used to think of it as just a local problem of our barangay, our municipality, or our city. But now there's an increasing recognition it's a global problem. And so the solutions should be global. So perhaps when it regards Manila Bay is one of the most heavily impacted bodies of water worldwide in terms of plastics. And I think people have seen it every time there is a habagat or a typhoon. All the trash piles up near the U.S. Embassy.
Absolutely. A few weeks ago, it was all over YouTube and the news when you had all this garbage.
It went in.
Huh? Did that affect you guys in MOP? I mean, was the garbage severe in your area?
It didn't go in, but it has an impact in our water quality. So, because we take water from Manila Bay to use for the oceanarium.
Must be harder to treat
to
then, huh?
and treat and do the filtration.
Yeah. So what's the solution there, Ben?
Okay, since it's a global problem, and I think a lot of countries have recognized that it's a big problem, it may require a global treaty. Just like any environmental problem, all the UN countries would have to agree. And I think one of the things that have to be done is for us to reduce our use of plastic. And there are a lot of bright signs. People are now aware that they should carry their own reusable bags. I think that's the first step. Then perhaps we have to go back to the idea of using reusable bottles. Because a lot of our bottles now are plastics, PETs and all of those things. And we throw them out after using them for one time. But now perhaps we should come back to that, okay? And reduce our use of plastic. For instance, one of the things we can do is if we go shopping, if the store offers you to put it in a plastic bag, perhaps what we can do is we'll just carry it if it's just a small item, we can carry it on your hand, or bring your own reusable bag.
Yes.
I think that's one of the
practical solutions that we can all do.
But when all of those, if everyone's doing that, then you won't use plastics anymore.
And I think, Ben, if the Filipinos can get their acts together in this sense, it will make a huge dent in the problem, because I understand we are among the top 3 or top 5 worst plastic polluters on the planet. Is that true?
Well, in the latest study, which is published in the Nature Scientific Journal, we were ranked number 3.
Oh my God. I mean, and the first 2 are China,
China and Indonesia, one of the biggest growing economies in the world. Actually, we are part of one of the biggest fastest growing economies in the world.
Yes.
So the fastest growing economies are the ones producing the most plastic.
Yes. Okay, Des, how are plans for the future for your Manila Bay CSR awareness advocacy?
Well, we plan to continue the partnerships with the different agencies, with the academe, and we also support students who are conducting research in the Bay. We provide them the laboratories and the access to the Bay to do their research. So that's how we help the students, the master's students, even the undergrad students who would be interested to do this type of studies.
Yeah, so glad you're working with people like Dr. Ben Vallejo, because your work and you're helping each other out and giving him a platform, and just providing that the scientific surrounding that he can really do his work and find out how best to protect the environment is invaluable, I think. Okay, aside from this, Ben, I know you're very involved in the breeding program of MOP. And let's talk about the sharks first. Tell us a bit about the shark breeding program.
Well, it's part of this effort on conservation breeding. It was actually an idea that we talked about years ago, but at that time we didn't have much information. But well, the nice thing about the Manila Ocean Park curatorial team is they were able to come up with the right protocols to breed the sharks very efficiently. In fact, a lot of other oceanariums are quite envious how Ocean Park is doing it. So there were a lot of inquiries. So anyway, it came out that the life cycle of the sharks have been closed in captivity. So the ones that are being released are probably in the third generation, which means their parents were bred in the oceanarium.
How interesting, huh?
And most importantly, Ocean Park doesn't just release them. They have to get the right genetic, to protect the genetic diversity.
Okay.
So Ocean Park works with closely with the National Fisheries Research and Development Institute in assuring the genetic diversity of the sharks.
Very good.
So before it's released, they consult with the NFRDI, which is a research agency of our Department of Agriculture. So before they release it, and
I wasn't aware there were so many steps before you could just it's not a matter of just give me the shark.
You also choose
ocean.
the location.
Yeah.
It has to be a marine protected area.
Okay, before we jump into that, we have a video showing the kind of sharks we're talking about, and let's have a video.
Manila Ocean Park gives us the opportunity to get up close and personal with different kinds of animals. It gives us the opportunity to see what's in the wild. It's a window to what's out there. Hi, kids!
Hi!
Ako si Ate Leslie.
Is he safe in there?
Yes, the diver is safe in there. In fact, it seems that he's friends with our sharks. Our sharks here are quite gentle, not like the sharks that they show in the movies. So are you interested in touching the sharks?
Yes.
Yes. Sige, try mo hawakan niya, no? Habang naka-rest. Bamboo sharks are slow and they're sluggish shark species. So what fascinates me about them is that they are spotted when they are babies, but then when they grow or they mature, their spots fade. They are bottom dwellers and they like to eat small fish. Before kasi, yung bamboo shark species, very prevalent sila sa Philippine coastal waters. But of course, due to the demand for fishing, nasira yung kanilang habitat. Here in Manila Ocean Park, we have a bamboo shark captive breeding program. So this is a way of us of giving back to our marine environment and letting people know about our conservation issues. And we'd also like to show them that we are stewards of our marine ecosystem.
Very interesting, Ben. So the video made mention of the bamboo shark captive breeding program. So that little spotted shark is really the anchor of, this is the species that you guys are really propagating in Manila Ocean Park.
Oh yes, because actually all of the sharks and some of the rays are breeding, but the bamboo shark is the one breeding most frequently.
Yes.
So some of the sharks, they just breed by maybe 2 pups every time, but the bamboo shark lays eggs. They lay many eggs, and it's quite easy to raise them from being a baby to an adult. So
Yes.
that was the focus of the program, really.
And really endangered species of this bamboo shark, because of, as it said in the video, the destruction of the habitat and all that.
There's a growing consensus that almost all of the shark species are should be declared as endangered or
Yes.
vulnerable.
Yes.
And the bamboo shark is no exception. Being a small one, it's being traditionally eaten by people.
Really?
Also, the
Okay.
fins are also being eaten.
Okay.
Because they're
Yeah.
Okay.
slow.
And they're
Yeah.
easy to catch.
Yeah, and they look pretty
yeah,
friendly. I saw the
yeah.
kids, touching them, and whereas other fish, they would, just
Swim away.
swim away,
They're
get
quite
away.
easy to catch, and they live in shallow water, so all of those characteristics
Yes.
make them vulnerable to overfishing.
Yes.
So, yeah, for instance, the bamboo shark is supposed to be found all over the country, but if you go to any place, chances are you won't find them. So, for example, when we did the first release in Batangas, so we asked the fishermen if they've seen it. They said they saw it about 20 years ago, but there's
Wow.
no longer found there. So
That's
we
sad, huh?
identified the place as
Yeah.
the prime area to release it because it used to be there, but it's no longer there.
How sad! How
Yeah.
sad! No, it
Yeah.
really shows how in danger these animals are. If a local fisherman hadn't seen one in 20 years, huh? That's crazy. Okay, how many have you released of these bamboo sharks since you started the program?
Normally, in a one project, we release around 30 to 35 juvenile bamboo sharks. So around 100 already, because we had 3 sites since 2012.
Yes, yes. But okay, let me ask a practical question. You release several dozen. You said almost 100 bamboo sharks. What then are you? Because if the problem is not resolved, I mean, is there a company education campaign as well? Because if you release 100 sharks there, then maybe the local population will, as Dr. Ben Vallejo said, may catch them, eat them, and things like that.
We choose a marine protected area. So we partner with the local government and the non-government organization in the locality so that they will ensure that the sharks would be protected at least in the area where we will release it.
Yes. How interesting. Okay. How often do you have these? I understand that the bamboo shark is quite prolific.
Yeah, it does.
Compared to other sharks
Yeah.
because it lays a lot of eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
How often do you have these release programs?
We have it at least once every year.
Okay.
So the first one was in Calatagan, Batangas. The second was in Pangasinan, in 100 Islands. And the recent one was in Bagac, Bataan.
Very good. And you precisely you chose these locations because these are homes to marine reserves that are protected by, hopefully by the authorities, protected well. Now, okay, bravo. Okay, let's talk about the other breeding program of Manila Ocean Park, which is probably more famous, more popular with people, which is the penguin. Little guys in tuxedos. No?
Yes.
Ben, walk us through your breeding program over there.
Well, the Ocean Park imported it a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, around 2011, something like that. So they imported it as a new attraction. Now, the penguins came from a captive bred population in Germany. So Ocean Park had to invest because they were not collected from the wild. So they have to follow the international rules and the laws on
So you mean
transporting.
it's harder if you take it from a captive breeding facility. It's harder than if you take it from, let's say, you approach the government of South
Yeah.
Africa and
Many countries no longer allow capture of penguins.
Okay,
So if there are penguins in any zoo, they come from captive populations
Okay,
from other
okay.
zoos.
Okay.
So that's exactly what Ocean Park did. Of course, it costs more because you have to pay the zoo that exports it and you follow the regulations. So it really cost a lot. But then it turned out to be a great attraction because that's the first time penguins were displayed in the Philippines.
Absolutely.
And very surprisingly, they were able to breed. Again, I think that's credit to the Ocean Park curatorial staff.
Which, yes, Des, tell us a bit about, quickly before we close, about 3 minutes, the success really of this penguin program. And then these are Philippine, already handled by Filipinos, and it just goes to show the success of your people.
That's something that we always tell other people, that we're proud that the young Filipinos, mostly they have science backgrounds, who join us, and then we train them to be penguin handlers, penguin keepers, and they were able to breed the penguins from 9 to 27 pieces.
Wow, okay.
So it's very good to see that Filipinos are actually learning how to breed these animals.
Yes. And of course, the more penguins you have, the more chance you will have to maybe bring these, show these off in other parts of the country. So, other people can also, other people in other parts of the Philippines can enjoy these wonderful animals.
True.
Wonderful. Okay. We have about 2 minutes to close. On your end, Ben, what are your plans or moving forward in your advocacies with Manila
with the Ocean Park.
Yes.
Anyway, one thing is the Ocean Park is a great place to do research on Manila Bay because it's on the bay, okay, and they have the lab facilities. What we're doing now is Ocean Park has a memorandum of agreement with UP Manila, and my former student who's now teaching there is heading that project there to further monitor the bay. So students from UP Manila and other universities are being trained on the ecological monitoring of the bay. So that's a force multiplier. You have more people working on the bay, and more people get to know that the bay needs protection.
Yes. And that it can be saved, and and the first thing is really identifying what are the problem areas that need to be addressed. No? And that's, I have to say, I'm so glad, man, like my good friend Dr. Ben Valia is on top of this because, you're warriors, you're environment warriors. We're here to help you, but you guys are leading the way. You are the sharp end of the spear, so to speak, in this fight. No, absolutely. Okay. Des, how about you? What do you have in store for MOP this year and perhaps going through this year and then next?
Yeah. This year, like what we mentioned, we have a new attraction, the Super Toy, and over the years, I think we will still develop some more attractions, hopefully new attractions, with the goal of educating our young children about marine conservation and actually the blue planet in general, planet Earth in general, not only about the oceans, but the entire need to conserve our resources.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, it was on CNN earlier this week, Australian scientists said that what's happening in the oceans is indicative of what's sick and what's wrong with the Earth, and it could lead to planetary catastrophe.
Well, it's a global problem.
It is a global,
which
absolutely.
needs global solutions.
Absolutely, it affects us all, and it is a serious problem, and we all have to get our acts together, right? Okay, excellent. So guys, thank you so much for coming on Global Village for the first time.
Thank
Of course,
you for
not first time
inviting
in
us.
CNN.
Thank you again for inviting us.
And please do keep up the good work. As I mentioned earlier to Dr. Ben, and of course, yes, you guys are our warriors. So, the fate of the planet, of our marine resource are in the hands of people like you. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show on MOP. It's Middle Ocean Park and Marine Protection. Join us again next week here on the show and let us take you around the world. Till then, you all have a good evening. We're still on.